in the digital world, I asked you guys to work backwards. So if I was going to draw a Pokeball, I would take my shape, I would draw a Pokeball here. Okay, and then what I would do is I would copy this shape, copy it, and I would literally paste it here. Grab that little tool here, and I would drag it. And this tool I clicked on to drag was called the Arrange tool. So I move it here. And then once it's here, I'm going to click outside. I'm going to draw this shape again and put it somewhere else. I'm going to put it right into space here because I know I'm going to need it for space later on. Okay, and then do you see how I have all these layers? I'm going to flatten it so it doesn't confuse me down the road. So I'm going to flatten my layer. And then watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to draw it a little bit more detail because now this is lines and I get to add a little bit more detail into my Pokeball. Now everybody knows what a Pokeball looks like, right? So I'm basically going to draw this, a Pokeball, right there. Okay, and I highly recommend you look at something as you're drawing and sketching because it does make your life much easier. Anyone trying to draw freehand out of your head, I hope you have some art background to do that because if you don't, it's going to get a little bit tricky. Oh. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here to my circle shape here and I got myself my Pokeball. So there's my Pokeball. I'm going to work backwards because if you're drawing on paper, you will sketch it until you have your Pokeball. But because it's the digital art world, it's much easier. Do you see how I just use the lines and use the shapes? It makes my life easier. So I kind of have to work backwards. So I take the eraser here, and all I'm doing, I'm just giving anybody using Pixlr a secret tip. This is how we do the line part. Because otherwise, it'll be too much work for you to draw individual lines to create your shape. Okay, you see that? Ooh, probably not that last part. There we go. Okay, so now I got the representation of sketch lines. So this part is just representing sketch lines. Everybody got that? Okay, now I made a huge giant mistake when I did that. So I'm going to do Control Z really quick. Before I did that, what I should have done was I should have copied and pasted it a couple more times before I did that. So that was my big mistake. So let me Control C right now and then Control V and paste it here. Control V, I'm going to paste it here. Control V, I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so this way I don't have to draw it multiple times. So now I get to go with my little eraser and I will erase. Oops, I can't erase. Why can't I erase, guys? I'm trying to erase, but it won't let me do it. What did I forget? Correct, I'm in the wrong layer. So what can I do to make my life easier? Flatten it. That's right, I should flatten my layer. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to flatten my layer by clicking on that little circle right there. Flatten my layer and then I get to be able to erase it. Okay, so now I have to do all that again. Okay, is everybody okay with this technique? This is my little secret trick and tip to help the people who are using Pixlr to draw lines. Those of you on paper, you just do it the old-fashioned way, which is how this artist was doing it. So if you're doing it on paper, you would do it like how this artist was doing. Lines. Okay? All right, then coming back over this way, now my shape is done, my line is done, so I'm going to focus on value because that's the hardest part for people to understand that. So what is wrong with this value first? Let's talk about the caret. What's wrong with that value? The definition of value. Yeah, it's missing the shading part. Do you see that? It's missing the shading part. So I'm going to come over here to the A+ folder. Do you see how value is all about shading? So let me come over here to this YouTube video. Let's see. If we were in an actual art class, the art teacher would actually give you like a paper worksheet, because I remember I had to do this in high school, and then she would teach me that there's many different levels of black. So the highest definition of black would be over here on the right. So let me zoom through this video. So this would be the darkest shade of black. This would just be white. And then we would use our pencil to kind of like increase the darkness as we went, right? And then this is like the little worksheet that says, oh, this is a shade of 4. So you will look at what your 4 is and then shade it in. Oh, this is what your 3 is, and then this is what you would shade it in. So that's how it would work if you were in like a paper pencil kind of class. Okay, so those of you drawing with pencil and with paper, this is kind of what you need to work with. Okay, so let's come back to this carrot here. Is this carrot even in a shade of black or gray? Forget the shading. Is it even in the shade of black and gray? And the answer is no. So it's even the wrong color because they turned a carrot into a green carrot. Okay, so it's definitely the wrong carrot. It's like a rotten carrot. So value, let me show you what a carrot with value would look like. Carrot with value shading on it. Okay, so this would be what a carrot with value and shading would look like. You see that? You can actually draw that with a pencil. I mean, it's a beautiful artwork here. Let me give you another idea. Do you see how like you can actually draw a realistic looking carrot with just a pencil? It's crazy, but that's how art works. You don't need like 100 colors to draw a beautiful carrot. All you need is just one pencil and a sheet of paper. Okay, but this is like super professional carrot. I am not looking for a super professional carrot, but I'm just trying to show you if you understand the concept of value and shading, this is what it would look like. Okay, so compare this carrot to that carrot. Okay, everybody sees the difference, right? That's the thing. Now, most of you are using paper because that's what you said. So paper, you got that pencil. Life is easy for you. Okay, you just make it a little darker. You will kind of like watch that video about shading, you know, and the strategies of using a pencil to shade, and you got yourself some shading. Now, the people who are using Pixlr, here comes your tip. So you need to first use the brush and get some color first. So kind of you will need at least 2 or 3 shades to do this. Make sure it's not too big. If it's too big, you won't have enough room. So let me shrink the brush size down just a little. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little shade of black here because I'm going to use a smudge tool down the road. And I'm going to do like another shade. Okay, probably like right around here a little bit. Okay, and then maybe I will grab myself another shade here and kind of, well, I probably should make it a little bit smaller, not too big. So I'm just going to, it's like blending. Anyone that's ever played with blending, I'm blending. Now I'm going to zoom in a little to make this work because if you zoom out, it's not going to work. So it looks kind of crazy that it's not going to work out, but there's this really cool tool next to this little raindrop looking icon here. If you click on that, it activates the blur, sharpen, or smudge. Now smudge is what you want. So you want to click on smudge, and then I'm going to start smudging. Smudging is kind of like blending away. So let me probably shrink the tool a little bit. So I'm going to smudge, 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 smudge. Maybe I don't have enough black to smudge. I probably need more black. Okay, hold on, smudge, smudge. So I'm kind of just blending my colors here. I probably need more black. I don't have enough black here. I'll hit OK. Let me click on my brush and kind of add another layer of black here. And then I'm going to come back to my smudging. And I'm going to smudge, 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 smudge. And I'm going to keep on smudging until I get all my colors all nicely blended in. And do you see how that kind of creates this value? I'm going to keep on smudging. Now let me zoom out and you can kind of see where this is going. I probably should get rid of that purple shade. I don't know how that ended up being purple. But I'm going to come back here into my smudge tool. I'm going to keep on smudging until I get the exact shade that I want to create that value looking thing. Now, if you got other tools in mind that you want to practice with, you can go ahead and do that. That's what happened. I wasn't in smudge land. And we need to be in the smudge tool. So keep on smudging, smudging. Now, if I did everything right, it would have kind of looked like that. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Is it this one? Okay, so do you see how I did a better smudging in my last period class? I did better with the smudging. Okay, so you would just use it, you would kind of smudge, and then you would get some of your value going. Okay, people that's using Pixlr, did that help you guys out? Okay, so that's an idea of what you can do. And then that's how these people created it from last year. You see that? They were using Pixlr and they just kind of smudged their way into the values. So that's the tip. So same thing here. This person probably did gradient. So if you want to experiment with gradient, you can experiment with that too. This person smudged it, so you can see. So you can see the difference between gradient versus smudging. So that depends on what tool you want to use. And here's another one. This person just used smudging to get that effect. And now this doesn't look like a regular bottle. It looks like it's a glass bottle. Okay, with that said, that is all you need. All you need is just half of it to complete your work today. So let me see if I can come back to the photo editor. Say I finished 3. 1, 2, 3. That's all you needed to do. Okay, and then you're done. You can turn it in and get some feedback. Now, if I wanted to continue, I would color my Pokeball up here red if I really wanted to continue. I'll pick a shade of red, and then I will grab my little paint bucket here. Got myself red. Let's see what else. And that's it. Now I'm done with my Pokeball here. And now I will come over here to texture. Anyone who wants to experiment with texture, texture is value plus color. So now you would add some value into your color, and then that will create the texture. So let me show you over here. You see how they took the concept of color here, they drew for the bottle, but then they added some shades of white. Okay, and then that created this texture effect. Okay, so I know this is kind of hard. You kind of have to do this on your own, but if you can like chat with your friends, like do some Instagramming, share some pictures, FaceTime each other, get a support team going, it'll definitely help you guys out. And if you want some feedback from me, I would definitely use the remind text feature. So take a picture of where you think you're going and send me a picture, and I can give you some feedback. And that summarizes the class for today. How do you do the gradient on one image instead of on the whole screen? That's a good question. You probably will have to use the magic wand. So my secret tip is use the magic wand. Magic wand the section you want, and then apply the gradient within the magic wand. Okay, sure. I can go back to Pixlr. So say you want to apply gradient here. I would magic wand it. So click on magic wand, which would choose just that part. And then I will come over here to my gradient here. And you kind of see that? So that keeps my gradient within just that section there. So that's an extra special little tip there. But still, this texture needs work. It still needs more. Yeah, no problem. Okay, any other questions? Okay, have a great weekend.